Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland of Washington is joining us now. And Congresswoman, we thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me here today.
So the attack on the Capitol, let's tell our viewers, that it happened on your first week on the job. What was that like, and what stands out to you a year later, and how's it shaped your experience so far in Congress?
It's hard to believe that it has already been 1 year. And at the same time, it's just hard to believe as you replay the images what we experienced at the time. I came in as a freshman in Congress, having campaigned through a pandemic. We were very excited about being sworn in on the 3rd of January, which was a Sunday evening. And I say this because I think about the visual imagery. As someone who made history as the first African-American and also one of the handful of Korean-American women who got elected in this last cycle, I wore hanbok, a traditional Korean dress, when I got sworn in. 3 days later, the Capitol was attacked by a violent, angry mob. They tried to overturn a legitimate election. And the images I think of include this violent mob attacking the Capitol, the Confederate flag rolling through the hall, the noose that was set up on the Capitol campus, and then the images of Black and brown custodians cleaning up after this mess, and my friend and colleague, Andy Kim, on his hands and knees cleaning up afterwards. And so the images told such a powerful story of how it felt to be a freshman in Congress and to experience this.
I remember the image of Congressman Kim there. And what do you make? Republicans today first didn't show up. They accused Democrats of politicizing this day in order to advance an agenda. Have you had a chance to speak to anybody on the other side, any of your Republican colleagues? Do people do that anymore in Congress? And what would you say to them, or what have you said to them about such an argument that this commemoration of this day is really political?
Here's what I would say to them. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. This was an assault on democracy. And we have to ask ourselves a few questions. Who has a vested interest in destroying democracy in our country? Who has a vested interest in undermining free and fair elections? And, they can be in denial all they want, but the GOP has been taken over by the extremists in their party. And the fact that only a handful of people will stand up and speak the truth sadly says so much about the GOP today.
And right now it does seem that the rank and file Republican voters, are raring to go to take back power in Congress and perhaps in the presidency in a couple of years. Do you sense that Democrats have the same urgency for what they feel is their side of the battle for democracy?
Oh, absolutely. We must hold on to and expand our majority. We must add more Senate seats. And we have to be very honest with the American public and keep reminding them of the things that we have accomplished, but also send a very important message. Democracy is in danger. And if there are no consequences for what happened on January 6th, this will happen again.
So what does justice for January 6th look like to you?
Well, you are reading about the people who were involved in the insurrection being arrested. But I want to make sure that we are not losing sight of the fact that that is just the tip of it. There are organizations, there are people, both domestic and international, trying to undermine our democracy. There is money and funding being used. And we have to get to the root of the issue as much as holding those accountable who physically stormed the Capitol. It's much deeper than the people we saw on TV who are engaged in violence. There are organizations and there are institutions that are involved in this.
And Congressman Strickland, let me ask us both to kind of cast our minds forward, if we can, to a day when this is in the past, maybe when we've gotten past it. What lessons do you think the nation can learn from January 6th long term?
I would say a few things. I was listening to your earlier segment, and you were talking about just the polarization and the ability to have rational discussions. And, sadly, it is incredibly easy to get bad information and flat out lies and to be wrapped up in an echo chamber where you only hear what you want to hear or engage in confirmation bias. And so we have to be very selective about how we digest information. We have to teach civics in school because a lot of people have no idea how government works. And then I would say, looking back a year ago from now, I hope, I hope that we realize that democracy being in danger hurts every single person who is an American. It hurts every person who waves the flag and talks about the Constitution. It damages all of us. And so I am hopeful that we will get through this year. We will have free and fair elections. We will respect the integrity of secretaries of state around the country. We will engage in a very serious discussion that we're doing right now about voting rights. We will address voter suppression and just do everything we can to protect this precious and fragile democracy.
Former President Barack Obama said today, our system of government has never been automatic, not like in a kingship where the king dies, the next one takes over. We've got to work at it every day. And Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland of Washington, thanks very much for helping us understand that.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.